Hey guys, today I want to look at this, a 2001 Toyota Echo. This is probably one of my favorite economy cars you can get in the used marketplace. This particular Toyota Echo was very neglected, and you can watch some videos of me trying to fix this thing up. It is fixed up. I am just waiting on the title for it so I can rehome it, but it's a fantastic car. It drives well. The only thing this particular example needs is tires and rotors. I've changed the brake pads, I've done many things to get this up to speed. This only has 137,000 miles. So if you're a Echo connoisseur like me, you realize that's a baby in terms of Echo life. The only problem is that a lot of people usually beat these to death because there's usually a parent that gets it, that's a very rational person. And then afterwards they sell it or give it away to their kids, and the kids mentally abuse the Toyota Echo. But in the right hands, a Toyota Echo lasts for a very long time. And this is perhaps one of my favorite economy cars. And of course, I call this the poor man's Toyota Prius. The Prius is a great car, but it's got many more issues in the used marketplace. Since you don't know who owned the Prius, and if it's not been taken care of, it could potentially have many more issues. And of course, after 10 years, a Toyota Prius probably needs the main battery, and this does not need a main battery. Typically, a Toyota Echo will get 40 to 45 miles to the gallon in the automatic version, and 50 with a stick shift. And of course, there's been people that have hyper mild Toyota Echos and have gotten 70 miles to the gallon. This one is the 4-door version. The Toyota Echo comes in 2 doors and 4 doors, and I've even seen a sunroof one. The unicorn of the Toyota Echo is a 4-door, 5-speed with a sunroof. You might be wondering, why even bother buying Toyota Echos? Well, for me, they represent a lot of the best in cars. So first, they're really great cars for point A to point B type of commuting, and often you find that a lot of low-income families do get these, or cheapskates. This is the non-hybrid Toyota Prius, and you can get a Toyota Prius and risk the failure for the main battery. And I think that's one of the reasons Toyota Priuses are a little bit more difficult to sell on the used market than a non-hybrid, because people fear the battery going out on the Prius, and I can't blame them. A battery for a Prius is rather expensive, and there's many more things that Priuses have that could go wrong. Now, I've done videos about Priuses before because I think it's a fantastic car, but the Toyota Echo is the Toyota Prius that's non-hybrid. It gets almost as good as gas mileage as the Prius does. Now, there are some downsides, of course. The Prius is a hatchback design, and the Echo is not. The Echo is a standard car style, so it doesn't make it as easy to carry lots of stuff. You know, shape-wise, I do like the Echo. It's got a very different styling, and it looks almost like the early Toyota Priuses. Everybody wants hybrids and electric vehicles. So the beauty of this car is that you can get them really cheap, but the problem is with the internet and YouTube, people are figuring out that, yeah, you can get a stick shift Toyota Echo, and it's quite a fun car. You know, one of the interesting things about the Toyota Echo is that it's got a very high seat, and when you get in and out, it's very easy. The Prius and a lot of cars from the 90s and early 2000s dropped down a little bit, so if you have knee problems, the Echo is actually a very good car for that, because it makes driving it every day very easy and simple. Let's open up the trunk. You ever get kidnapped? This is what you have to use when you're in the back of the trunk. You pull it to release the trunk. This is an extremely large trunk. It might not look it, but you have quite a bit of space to put maybe 2 large suitcases in here. You also have a spare tire down here. So it would seem like this car is small, but I think that's why a lot of people that drive this every day get Toyota Echoes, it's surprisingly handy. The only downside with the trunk is that this is not a hatchback, of course, but it's relatively small here to fit stuff. You got a lot of space in here, but because of the bumper and you have to kind of lift it to put stuff in here, this is very small, so it kind of limits the kind of things you would bring home. Close this. This is just so thin. It's like not a lot of stuff going here. So I'm 5'9", and I don't have any issues at all sitting here comfortably. You can see I don't have a lot of room between my knee and the seat in front of me. The seat in front of me is adjusted for me as well, but very little room. But it's got enough room to be comfortable, so you can be 6 feet tall and, you know, fit here comfortably. And there is room for 3 passengers back here. The seats also fold flat. Opening for the door, you have locks. These are power locks, and then you have your power windows. Both of these seats fold down. You push up on these levers, push the seat belt backwards, and you can fold them so you don't have the ability of having this removed. So that is one of the downsides of the Echo, is that you can get like a Scion XB or XA and it has a lot more utility, but you still can't beat the price of the Echo in the used market. In the driver's side, you have the same things that you would have in the passenger and the rear passengers, but this is slightly different. The door is actually in surprisingly good shape. On this left side, this big knob is something that you should be pretty familiar if you have any Toyota from the 90s on. It's a dimmer for your dash. It's hard plastic. And then you have a coin slot here. So inside the cockpit of the Toyota Echo wheel, it's got a very light touch, and that's what I like about it. It's very easy to steer. This car has a go-kart-like quality to it because it's so light. It feels so light when you drive it that I think that's what makes it a fun car. People would probably go like, oh yeah, Toyota Echoes are boring, but a lot of economy cars are surprisingly fun. This one, in the steering wheel, you do have an airbag, and you also have an airbag in the passenger side. This one, it's got a adjustability for the steering wheel. It goes up and down. Your dash is actually in the middle, and that's something that not a lot of people like, but when you drive it, it actually makes more sense to have this completely empty, and you can concentrate more on the road. It's got the speedometer, odometer, fuel, and temperature, so it's not a very intricate thing. So having this here makes a little bit more sense, and I think most people, if you were to drive it, you would see that it's not distracting at all. But the entire surface of this car is built for utility. You know, there's nothing that's luxurious about this car, and I think that's one of the things I like about it. It's the basics. You know, a lot of people get these cars as commuter cars. When they were new, they were definitely commuter slash family cars. This is how you adjust your mirrors. And it's quite a clever little contraption, and it's soft rubber, so it's very easy to adjust. These round knobs, as ugly as you might think they are, they're extremely effective. Here you have your clock, 2 buttons to adjust it, and then over here you have your AC, your rear defrost, or actually front defrost, then you have your hazards, and then your AC for controlling fresh air from going in or recirculation. And then this is something I like. It's very simple. You have your dials, very large dials. Everything is plastic and inexpensive. And of course you can like turn it on and off and then adjust the direction. And then you have your radio down here, and then you have an ashtray, cigarette lighter, and that's pretty much it. Very simple console. And the cool thing about the Echo is that you have a big pocket here to store stuff, another big pocket here. You also have a pocket underneath the steering so you can put even more stuff. And then you have a pocket on top here, another pocket over here, and another pocket over here. You have a very large shifter with overdrive and 2 large cup holders. Let's check out this beast under the hood. Not going to find a lot of power in this, but this is a motor that Toyota puts in many cars. One of the things I really admire about this car is that it's very easy to work on. It's just me that whenever I look at these engines, and it doesn't impress anybody. This engine only impresses me because I love that it's an economic, small engine that's reliable. Even the hood is extremely lightweight. Like, there's no weight at all to this. So the battery is a little bit weak on this, but it'll start. And it starts very easily and it's very quiet. The seats are very high up, so it makes getting in and out extremely easy. If you're a food delivery person, for example, and if you use your car for driving quite a bit, that's actually a super benefit of having a high seat height, because you don't have to crouch down and kind of like climb out of the car. A lot of cars from the 90s were much harder to get in and out. This one is very easy. So the egress in and out is extremely easy. It almost feels like very SUV-ish. The Toyota Prius that I have, it's a little bit harder because the seat is a little bit further down. So this one, if you look at the seats, you notice that they're on risers. And you have plenty of headroom too. So even for a taller person, this is a very good car. This is a tall vehicle. That's why the shape of it is kind of strange for people, but it's a very well-engineered car for everyday type of driving. Who would get a Toyota Echo? And there's quite a few people that I've seen, because, you know, I will sell this car. And I've always wondered, like, who are the people that get it? So from selling a couple of these Echoes, I found that they're generally lower income people, and immigrants usually get them, especially like the Latino type of immigrants. If this thing was a 5-speed transmission, it would definitely be bought by a Latino family. And, you know, a lot of times people get big cars for raising families. You have like 2 or 3 kids. They'll get like a Chevy Tahoe or a Toyota Sequoia. But a lot of people can't afford those big cars because they waste so much gas, and if they do break, they're much more complex to work on. And this Toyota Echo, you might think that it's unsafe, but it's relatively safe. And a lot of people, immigrants, do get this because it's a fantastic little car. It's a Toyota, so it's a very good brand. And this one's got 130-something thousand miles, so it's not a lot for a Toyota at all. So the person that will get this most likely is going to be somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, a student perhaps, but I found that most people that would get this are people that they just need to get to work. They probably do some deliveries, they are raising a family, they have like 2 or 3 kids, and they need to get the kids to school. And this would be a perfect car for it, because the Toyota Echo sits 5 people, probably very tight together, and it gets close to 45 to 50 miles to the gallon. This one, if it was a 5-speed, of course, it would be much more desirable. And I've seen another trend with the Toyota Echo. The people that are getting it too are white guys that want a fun, economical car, but are also like on the frugal side of life. And that's kind of like where I would be, because I find it very difficult to buy a car that gets 15 to 20 miles to the gallon and drive it every day. Just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I can see people getting like a nice car for weekend driving, and then having this as their everyday car to commute and to do whatever. It's a fantastic little tin box, and it feels like a go-kart. It's a fantastic little car, and if you can find one of these cheap, they're reasonably reliable for a very long amount of time. And I've seen these with 300,000 miles with very little issues. The only thing they really need is basic maintenance. And I think having this car and having it start after years and years of being you know, neglected. And I know that this is going to be going to somebody that's really going to appreciate it, hopefully. So that's the 2001 Toyota Echo. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video.